some of these congressional primaries will decide it decides the parties. Last week we did a deep dive on different political alignments and how those are shifting, right? Based on like what values on the issues are the parties aligning themselves with. Well, these people who get elected in the primaries to go on to represent their states in Congress, they're the ones who decide what that alignment is going to be. It is the president to some extent too, right? But then you see in the Republican Party where Trump has cleaved it, and he's caused this clear split where you have like the McConnell-led Warhawk type Republicans. The more that the McConnell types get elected into the Senate, the more that version of the Republican Party survives. Versus the more the Trump type senators get elected, the more that the Republican Party becomes aligned with Trump, right? So I think specifically we have 3 Senate primaries that we want to talk about here. First one was California. So after Dianne Feinstein died, I think it was late last year, Gavin Newsom appointed LaFonza Butler as her replacement. But LaFonza Butler isn't running again for the Senate. So this is actually the first time that a California Senate seat is opening in about 30 years, since 1992.
I didn't know that.
California is probably the bluest state in the nation. So the primary might be the most important election, although how California works is the primary just decides who the final 2 are going to be, and then they vote on those final 2 in November. Those final 2 can still be Democrats.
It's called a jungle primary. So like they'll have a list of like 8 people, and then the top 2 go on to a final round.
Yeah. And so there are really 4 front runners, and I'll start with the one Republican. His name is Steve Garvey. He's a former Los Angeles Dodger baseball player.
I didn't know that.
And honestly, the consensus is he is just someone with name recognition who's been thrown to the wolves just so the Republicans can have a presence there. Yeah. Right? Just so that he doesn't even know what his own stances on these issues are because he's so new to this. He said, quote, "Once we get through the primary, I'll start a deeper dive into the issues."
Oh, God, dude.
That's
so embarrassing.
I haven't been at this very long, so you got to get me a little bit of leeway here.
Wait, that's actually like so sweet and wholesome. I prefer that than someone lying to me.
I guess, but I wouldn't vote for it.
No, God, no. I wouldn't vote for him. I would hold his hand and tuck him in, but that's so cute. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, give me some time, guys. I'm new to this. Yeah. It's like that, you know that meme where that's going around right now with like the hamster that's like cute with the sound where it's like,
I haven't seen it.
Damn, maybe some people over here on TikTok will understand, but it's like a cop is like, get out your license and registration, and then like you swipe to the next picture and it's like it's a little hamster with cute eyes being like, can I call my mom? Okay. And that's like what's happening here. It's like, what's your position on the issues? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, kind of. So he one thing we know is he's voted for Trump in the last 2 elections. He's refused to say whether he will vote for Trump again in this election.
Pussy.
Obviously that is major points against him in the California primary. The weird thing is he's not polling terribly.
No, he's not.
And he's polling around like right behind the second frontrunner Democrat, who we'll get into really quickly here. But it's one interesting thing is both of the 2 front-running Democrats have tried to the top front-running Democrat has tried to boost Garvey so that Garvey is the one that he's running against in November.
So let's switch up. Let's go to the top Democrat.
So Adam Schiff is the Democrat who's leading in the polls right now. He's a representative in the House, and he has the most name recognition probably for leading the first impeachment inquiry into Donald Trump. Adam Schiff, and I'll get into the second one first just so we can make comparisons. The second leading Democrat is Katie Porter. So she's a protege of Elizabeth Warren.
Yes.
She's kind of your economic populist. She says big companies are bad. They're the reason for most of our woes.
She does really well. She does really well on pharma regulation.
Sure.
That's a big thing for her.
So she's really focused on domestic policy. And then the last one is Barbara Lee. Yes. Barbara Lee is a longtime representative in the House. She is the more progressive choice.
Yeah, she is a progressive flocked to her early on. AOC is big supporter of Barbara Lee.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is massively supportive of Barbara Lee. She gained national recognition after 9/11 for voting against going to war in Afghanistan.
Yep.
She is the only member of Congress to do so. So this has made her the go-to choice for progressives for a long time. A lot of progressives absolutely love her. But she doesn't have genuinely the best ideas. And as a progressive, I feel comfortable saying that.
Okay.
She has indicated that she wants a $50 minimum wage.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nuts.
It's crazy.
It's obviously ridiculous.
Yes.
That's not feasible.
Yeah.
So just on that alone, I'd probably vote for Katie Porter if I was in that situation.
Yeah.
Adam Schiff is interesting. He is a Democrat through and through. He's never going to be a maverick. He's going to vote party lines all the way through.
Yeah.
But he's not the type of guy I want to lead the party.
Okay.
He's not the type of guy I want to lead the party.
Why is that?
He seems too corporatist for me.
Yeah.
He seems too corporatist. It might, his voting record might not say it as such, right? But he is not a bulwark the way Katie Porter would be a bulwark against big pharma and big corporations. Adam Schiff will vote with Katie Porter, but he's not going to write the legislation that Katie Porter would write.
Yeah. Katie Porter specifically doesn't take any money from big donors. She doesn't take any money from PACs. Adam Schiff cannot say the same thing.
No, she cannot.
Porter takes all of her money from small dollar donations. But so the thing is, Schiff has been trying to propel Garvey because he wants to run against Garvey rather than Porter when it comes to the election. I think so these people, these Democrats, would mostly vote the same, right, when they get elected. One place that there's a clear difference is Israel-Palestine.
Yes.
Adam Schiff has been all in on support for Israel. He's completely in support. Barbara Lee is completely out. Barbara Lee is totally in favor of a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Katie Porter doesn't really know.
Yeah.
She's
scared to take a stance.
She is.
But she's also in a weird spot, right? Because all the progressives are flocking to Barbara Lee. All the moderates / like Democrat resist libs, like I hate Trumps, are going to Adam Schiff because he impeached the orange man, right? So then you have Katie Porter, who's trying to ride the middle lane, right, between these two sides. But she can't say that she's all for Palestine because then she loses all that. So she's just trying to ride the line.
Yes, she is. But her way of riding, she can't really. I don't think she's articulated a middle ground path that well.
No,
like
that's a fair point.
They've had multiple debates and they've tried to press her on it. And they're like, "So do you support a ceasefire or not?" And she's like, "Ceasefire isn't a magic word. You can't just say it and then make it happen. There needs to be other conditions to have it go through,"
which is fine and true,
but she doesn't describe what those conditions are. She doesn't have a vision.
Or what's her opinion?
Yeah.
Right? Or what's your opinion? I understand that it's not something that could be happening right now. Would you like it to happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. So, I who do you like the most?
I like Katie Porter the most.
Really?
I've liked Katie Porter for a while. I think Barbara Lee is great, but I do not think that voting for someone who wants a $50 minimum wage is reasonable. That's just not something I could.
Okay.
I think that's too much.
I think I would do Barbara Lee.
You think
I
so?
think I would vote Barbara Lee because she'll never get the $50 minimum wage.
That's fair. And if you want to push the Overton window,
right?
I get that.
She does that because one of the things that she's proposed is investing $1 trillion into the National Housing Trust Fund.
That's huge.
To build up more public housing and more support for it. Mm-hmm. Housing has been a huge issue in these debates because of the issues in California, obviously. Yeah. And I think, again, that's something where the Overton window does need to be pushed. Mm-hmm. Right now, we only invest like $10 billion into the Housing Trust Fund,
right?
The Public Housing Trust Fund. So all of these Democrats, I think, would invest more, but I think Lee would probably push it the most.
Yeah, I think I'm more impressed with Katie Porter's like domestic economic record, right? Like the way, like in her committee hearings where she's ripping apart Big Pharma or ripping apart Jamie Dimon, right? Like those are moments where it's like, okay, this is someone who's a good orator and like is a good spokesperson for her ideals. Barbara Lee is a great spokesperson and a good spokesperson for her ideas. I don't see the same type of like combativeness against industry in the same way that Katie Porter has been able to demonstrate. And I think Katie Porter could take that to legislation where Barbara Lee couldn't. Also, from a more political perspective, perhaps Barbara Lee is like too progressive for her own good in the Senate, where like people won't work with her because the same way some people don't like to work with Bernie Sanders because he's too far left.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But then there's a pragmatic element to it, but I don't know if that's a good reason not to vote for somebody. It's hard for me to know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm more up in the air than I thought.
Yeah.
About it.
But you're definitely not Schiff.
I'm definitely not Schiff.
Because of the corporatism and the Israel support.
Yeah. I'm definitely either Porter or Lee. I used to be all Lee. Now I'm kind of support. Now I don't
see.
Really
I give
care.
props to Lee for being pro Palestine.
No, me too.
Being pro ceasefire, right?
That's a hard thing to do.
That's big, and and Porter is not clearly pro ceasefire, and Schiff is clearly anti ceasefire,
right?
So that's like an actual difference.
That's a very substantial difference.
Yeah.
I hope the best thing for the Democratic Party is that Garvey comes in second place.
You think so?
Yes, because Garvey cannot win the general election.
No.
So if it's 2 Democrats in California, those 2 Democrats will be raising a lot of money fighting each other, and all that money should be going to Montana and Ohio.
Okay.
And they're going to be sucking up that money from around the country that should really be going to Montana or Ohio.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hope Garvey comes in second and Porter in first. All the polls have it like Schiff, Porter, Garvey, Lee, or Schiff, Garner, Porter, Lee.
I actually see Garvey. Yeah, I have Schiff, Garvey. Right. Recently, Garvey and Porter have generally been neck and neck. Garvey is ahead by, it looks like, a like 1.5 over Porter right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See. So.
Yeah. But Schiff is ahead by far.
Yeah. Schiff's gonna come in first place no matter what.
Yeah.
What a great political decision on him to put his face on national TV every day with that impeachment inquiry stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in California, right, that is kowtowing to the base.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Okay.
And now let's go over to the Ohio Senate primary.
Yes.
So we have 3 leaders here. We got Bernie Moreno, Frank LaRose, and Matt Dolan.
Yeah.
Okay. Frank LaRose, he's the Secretary of State of Ohio, and he made a pretty big national name for himself a couple months ago with an Ohio referendum to ban abortion in the state. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He was.
He wanted to make it harder to amend the Ohio Constitution, which was seen as a proxy vote for abortion because later in the year, Ohio voters were looking to enshrine abortion as a constitutional right.
Yes. He was trying to get abortion referendums to be 60% instead of 50%.
Yes.
Right? So then the abortion referendum did pass by like 57%. So now Frank LaRose made a name for himself as being like an anti-abortion guy, which is not really the best thing to tie yourself to.
In Ohio? No.
So he makes his name for himself there, and then he loses that race that he was really in charge of running the campaign for. So then he gets a little embarrassed because he loses by like 10 plus points, right? So then that's not really good for his name recognition. So that's Frank LaRose. Then we have Matt Dolan. Matt Dolan is a pretty well-known state representative in Ohio. I don't know much about him, but he's more of the establishment pick.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Right, a little bit more of the establishment pick. I would say Frank LaRose is the establishment pick.
Yeah.
And then Frank LaRose. And then Matt Dolan. And then we get Bernie Moreno.
Yeah.
Now, Bernie Moreno was a car salesman for a while. This is his first time running for any type of political office. And he has Trump's endorsement.
Yeah, Trump's endorsement, J.D. Vance's endorsement, Jim Jordan's endorsement.
All of the hard writers are lining up behind Bernie Moreno.
Yeah.
This is his guy.
I honestly think this might be a tiny bit conspiracy-ish, but I think Bernie Moreno had a meeting with Trump, pledged loyalty, got the support.
Dude, I totally think he pledged loyalty to Trump, 100%. Because Bernie Moreno has no record to go off of, and Trump's most valued asset is loyalty.
Well, Bernie Moreno actually has somewhat of a liberal track record.
He has a liberal history.
He's written op-eds about like increasing renewable energy infrastructure and investment in renewable energy. He's wrote op-eds about making like abortion legal. He's wrote op-eds about immigration, about a path to citizenship for illegal immigrants who are in the country right now.
And all that is gone now.
Yeah.
He agrees with none of the things he ever wrote.
Yeah.
He's done with all of this.
Somehow I think he might be just looking to grab power.
Possibly.
Huh.
Who would have thought? He said a lot of controversial stuff recently. One thing I always mention is he floated the idea of giving reparations to the descendants of white Union soldiers for ending slavery instead of reparations for black people.
It's crazy.
That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he said it. You can look up the video where he's talking about it, and he's not even saying it like it's a joke. Like he said it with his whole chest. So that's kind of Bernie Moreno's vibe. He's what?
The one other thing I'll say, he's a businessman, and he's also recently faced like lawsuits for underpaying his employees and otherwise discriminating against them. God, I need to get more
this is perfect for Trump. What a good one and the same.
Yep.
One and the same. Perfect for him. Bernie Moreno also not great on union stuff. He has not indicated anything with regards to the UAW strikes. He showed absolutely zero support to all of them. So that's Bernie Moreno, Frank LaRose, and Matt Dolan all don't support the UAW stuff that's been going on recently.
Yep.
And that differs from what the Democrat incumbent has done. Sherrod Brown has been one of the largest union supporters in the country. Sherrod Brown is the incumbent senator from Ohio. He was first elected to the Senate in 2006. He has been very, very tight on banking regulation, very, very good on working rights and unionization rights and collective bargaining rights. That's been his whole thing.
Yes.
Totally. So these are the three guys: Bernie Moreno, Frank LaRose, Matt Dolan.
Okay, I found the thing about Bernie Moreno. He was sanctioned by a court, Bernie Moreno, for shredding documents amidst a lawsuit that accused him of wage theft.
That is hilarious.
Isn't that crazy?
Don't you go to jail for that?
Probably just fined.
Maybe just fined. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was like it's probably not. Maybe it's a civil thing, so it's not a crime.
Well, because they ordered Moreno to pay $400,000 to two former employees.
Wow.
At his Massachusetts dealership. And then he admitted in a deposition to shredding documents containing information that was relevant to the case.
That's amazing. God, that's hilarious.
That is hilarious, dude.
Wow. Maybe he's giving Trump strategies about the court stuff. Maybe that's
exactly. Yeah. No, the last thing I'll say is about LaRose. LaRose finds himself as the Secretary of State in this interesting position of, since Trump has made it such a point that elections are fraudulent, elections aren't trustworthy, he gets to run on saying, my elections have been rock solid. Like, even though saying the national election, still casting doubt on those national elections. And even Trump has posted on social media he hasn't endorsed LaRose, because obviously we just said he endorsed Moreno, but he has endorsed LaRose's track record on elections.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
So it'll be
I definitely think it was between Moreno and LaRose for sure.
Okay.
And it was definitely like a hard call. I know Bernie Moreno just gave so much loyalty to Trump so early on. Like, he's been sucking his dick for so long.
Yeah, and it'll be another test. Does the Trump-backed candidate win the primary, and then do they lose the general?
Yeah, I mean,
because we've seen that pattern so many times.
And so let's look at the stances of the politics right now. Where are these in the polling? Well, Bernie Moreno was in second to third place in the very beginning of all this. We actually put out a video on the important Senate elections of 2024, and we talked about the polling at the time, and I think Bernie Moreno was in last at that time. And then I said in that video that it's all going to change the second Trump gives out the endorsement, because the second Trump endorses Bernie Moreno, he's going to jump up 20, 30 points and be running ahead. What are the numbers now?
I'm seeing latest poll from Emerson College: Moreno 22, LaRose 21, Dolan 15.
There we go. That's way closer than I thought.
Super close.
I can't believe it's that close with LaRose and Moreno. Yeah. And I also can't believe that there's that many undecided so late in the game.
Yeah.
Like, that's so late in the game. I think the primary's in August or something like that.
Maybe the poll was set up. I mean, the numbers on this make it seem like maybe those are only Republicans that were polled, or like the numbers, like everyone was polled, but then most of the Democrats said like,
oh no,
not applicable.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
No, that's not how the primary polls work.
Okay. But
yeah, there's a lot of undecideds. I still think Moreno's going to carry it down pretty quick. I think Trump's going to go in there, give like 2 speeches, and then it's going to be over for everyone else.
Okay.
I mean, that's been the track record. But then it goes into what you were saying. Does the Trump-backed candidate who wins the primary end up losing the general?
Yeah.
And if there's anybody who can carry Ohio on the Senate level while Donald Trump carries it on the presidential level, it's Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown's been through it with the Ohio electorate. 2006, 2012, 2018, 2024. Dude's been around. He knows how to run a campaign.
Yeah.
And he knows how to organize the union support to get that vote out. He's done that plenty of times. So he's going to keep doing it. It's going to be a hard race. Quickly, before we move on to the last one, I want to talk about Montana, okay? There was going to be a primary in Montana between Tim Sheehy and Matt Rosendale. These are two Republicans who are running to face off against John Tester, the incumbent Democrat from Montana. And Tim Sheehy was the establishment pick. Matt Rosendale was not. He was the more hard writer. Matt Rosendale declared that he was going to run for Senate. Okay. The next day, Donald Trump endorses Tim Sheehy, undercuts Matt Rosendale's whole case for running. Then Matt Rosendale drops out the next day.
Why do you think Trump endorsed Sheehy?
Here is my theory. Matt Rosendale has recently impregnated his 20-year-old congressional aide.
Really? Too much scandal even for Trump,
Too much scandal even for Trump,
Really?
Bro. I think so. I think impregnating your 20-year-old... Oh, man.
Is he married?
Yeah. Wait, I actually don't know if he's married. I took that for granted.
Okay.
Let's look that up real quick.
Okay.
So that was the whole Matt Rosendale situation.
See, I thought it was more Sheehy just has a better chance to win, and Trump is trying to align himself with the winner for once.
That would be good politicking on Trump's part for once.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible. I don't know. But I really want to see if he's married. So, yeah, Matt Rosendale threatens to sue after ex-senator claims he impregnated staffer. So, here we go. That's that.
Rosendale and his wife, Jean, reside on a ranch north of Glendive.
There you go. Yeah, the wife. So, that's not good for anybody.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't like Matt Rosendale, but no, you get what's coming to you. Okay, so now Michigan Dem primary. This one is the only Democratic primary.
Oh my God, he's been married for 40 years. I hope it's true.
God.
That's hilarious.
God, that's so bad.
Holy crap.
Oh. But I do, let's go back for a second. I do think it was too much scandal for Trump. I think even he knows.
Really?
Yeah, I think he knows endorsing somebody who impregnated their 20-year-old staffer is not
Okay.
That can't be, right?
Okay.
Okay, so Michigan primary. This is, I think, one of the best avenues. This is the next battlefield in the corporate versus progressive wing of the Democratic Party. In California, it's a little split, right? You have Schiff, you have Porter, you have Lee. People are probably out there making arguments that Schiff can be more progressive in some areas and stuff. Like, there are probably arguments going on, so it's not as clear cut of a case.
Yeah,
that it's like progressive versus corporatist. This one's a little more exact. So it's between Elisa Slotkin and Hill Harper. Now, I'll start with Elisa Slotkin because she is the assumed winner. She's like the favorite in this race. So she's a former CIA staffer. She worked on Iraqi intelligence prior to the Iraq War. That's where she got her campaign. That's where she got her career started. Not suggesting it's any way her fault. She was a low-level staffer at the time. Some people like to claim that she was like, she's the reason all these lies came. Not at all. She was like a low-level staffer.
Okay.
Just where she got started. Then she worked with, foreign affairs stuff under the Obama administration. Then she became an elected representative from a swing district in Michigan. Now, she made some iffy remarks during this campaign and after. One about abortion. She didn't specifically say whether or not life began at conception. She didn't say a yes or no answer to that question. She also didn't say a yes or no answer to the question of would you codify Roe into legislation. She didn't give a yes or no to that. She was kind of iffy. This is back in 2018, 2019. Might have changed by now, but when I go on her website, she doesn't put it up there. She doesn't say that she's gonna. I haven't seen anything that she says she's gonna. So that's a little hard.
That's important too.
That's an important one.
That's really important because her non-vote could be a deciding non-vote.
She also hasn't said that she wants to get rid of the filibuster. So getting rid of the filibuster is another thing that's kind of important for progressives right now.
Yes.
Because we want to codify Roe, and you can't do that unless you get rid of the filibuster.
Yeah.
Right? So if I go to her homepage and I look at the issues that she's talking about, she doesn't mention unions on it a lot. She doesn't mention unions at all. Not to say that she doesn't mention unions a lot. She doesn't mention unions once. She does go after pharmaceutical companies. She goes really hard on big pharma. She talks about how she was really proud to vote for the Inflation Reduction Act and how that reduced prescription drug costs for seniors. So I'm really glad her out there talking about that. She talks about making chips in America. She's super happy about the CHIPS Act and stuff like that. But she doesn't say anything like she wants to pass the PRO Act or something, right? I don't see like, I want to expand collective bargaining rights beyond what they are right now. I'm not seeing that type of rhetoric from her.
Okay. It seems very moderate. Seems very not pushing the envelope.
What makes me worried is and the reason I'm focusing on this race here is because I'm worried I don't want to elect another Kirsten Sinema.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I don't want to elect someone who we think is going to be okay and vote Democrat all the way, but actually has some more skeletons in their closet and might not, and might not pass to overdo the filibuster. We don't need more Mark Warners and Joe
Manchins. Yeah,
she's not a Joe Manchin. I don't want to put that much on her, right? You know what I mean?
Why not?
Because I don't think she's like that.
Okay.
I don't think that she would be against like what's a big thing that Joe Manchin is against? Then I don't think she would be against like a public option for health insurance.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
The way Joe Manchin would be. But let's go over to Hill Harper. Hill Harper's a different story. He's not been a politician. He was an actor, or is an actor. He's a part of the actors union and plays a leading role in the actors union. He's a big supporter of that and a big advocate for all that. He's running his campaign on basically a progressive agenda through and through. He's talking about raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. He's talking about expanding workers' rights and strengthening the collective bargaining and support a workers' right to organize. He says that explicitly. And then he's talking about supporting small businesses. That's kind of his economic agenda. Then he has a whole tab specifically towards ending the filibuster. So he makes that an exact point to end the filibuster and make that an important issue. And he talks about how that is good, what we need to ensure women's rights and pass Roe into codifying that into law. Then he goes on to talk about climate justice specifically and how that is super important. Alyssa Slotkin doesn't mention climate change in her like issues tab when she's running on her stuff. She does mention like protecting democracy, which is not something that Hill Harper mentions, but that goes without saying. I think, running in a Democratic primary, mentioning the defense of democracy doesn't do all too much.
No, I don't know what.
Because every Democrat's going to defend democracy against Trump.
Yes, you would think. Yeah, I
right.
agree.
So like, he's touting that.
Well, Adam Schiff has also been running on
he has.
Defending democracy, and part of that is like specific, like going above and beyond, kind of in strengthening the institutions via laws.
Right. If she ties this to like a new Voting Rights Act,
exactly,
that makes me very happy.
Sure.
Right. So I'm going to say again, I don't think the stakes in this election are that high. I don't think electing an Alyssa Slotkin is like a nightmare scenario.
It's not likely a cinema.
But a 20% chance is too high for me.
Yeah.
And so if I have the choice to go with somebody who's advertising that they want a $15 minimum wage and someone who's not advertising that, or someone how they want to pass the PRO Act and someone who's not advertising that, I'm going to pick the person who's advertising that.
Yeah. Definitely.
And Hill Harper's also an awesome speaker. He has fantastic speeches, which is important as a senator. You have to be a good orator if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Alyssa Slotkin's not terrible, but she's not as good.
We're going to see the results to this tonight.
No. This primary is in August.
Oh.
This Senate primary is over in August.
Okay. That means good. There's time. There's time for
and you know what?
Hill Harper to make up some
after
ground.
Talking about this, I think I'm going to donate to Hill Harper tonight.
Yeah.
After talking about this, I have more of a desire to see Alyssa Slotkin lose after talking about this.
Do you think the problem right now is probably name recognition, or do you think Michigan voters really do align more with Slotkin's values?
I don't think it's that they align more Slotkin's values. If they saw that Hill Harper was like on the UAW march line, right, and doing all that stuff, I think they would very much line up behind him.
Okay.
I do think she has proven to be a successful politician in Michigan. She has won in a swing district twice, right? Hill Harper is an unknown quantity.
Yeah.
And I think people might be worried of putting an untested person near the top of their ticket.
Okay. I get that.
Right.
I hope they look at it more as this is exciting.
Yeah.
Right? It's exciting to have an outsider, a new person come in.
Yep. And Hill Harper's been great. He's been a big supporter of Bernie Sanders throughout the years, I think.
Cool.
So he's been good on that stuff. So that's like the big progressive corporatist battle that I'm looking forward. The polls aren't looking too good for Hill Harper right now.
But he's losing by like 40.
But he's got a lot of time. He's got months.
Yeah.
He's got months of time. He isn't broke, which is good. From reports I've heard, he isn't broke. So
yeah, that is good. I don't think he takes super PAC money.
No,
or PAC money.
No
just
PAC
based
money.
on his website.
No PAC.
Yeah,
money.
and I mean the time thing does matter more. I think a lot more in congressional primaries.
Yeah,
because this is the type of thing that I don't know, that if you live in the state, you look up like the week before to learn about the candidates, and then you're like, okay, now I know who I want to vote for.
And listen, Michigan's a weird state, man. Don't forget, in 2016, the polling averages had Hillary Clinton winning Michigan against Bernie Sanders by 22 points. Bernie won it by 3, won it by 2 or something like that. So you never know.
You never know with the polls period.
You never know with the polls period. And progressives are popular in a lot of places in Michigan, especially if you're a union progressive.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a union progressive, you can make some fucking headway.
Yeah. There's some clout.
You know? So yeah, guys, that deep dive was actually really good. I think
I liked that.
That was really good.
Yeah, I do like analyzing politicians.
Yeah,
right. Like I like analyzing the issues and like figuring out how to solve problems. But I also like part of then the way to express that opinion ends up being who are you going to actually choose.
Well, politics is war by another means, as Karl von Clausewitz would say. So I like the idea of how you get all your policies done is you got to win, you know?
Yeah.
And studying how these people win is really fascinating.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a lot about the strategies of the campaigns as the months go on.